Thanks, Gary, and certainly thank everyone for coming tonight. Maureen and I are delighted to celebrate tonight and recognize two extraordinary individuals whose philanthropic spirit and unwavering dedication have left an indelible mark on our Tampa Bay community. Gail and Paul Whiting, right here in the front row, are the epitome of generosity and commitment and are the recipients of this year's Maureen and Douglas Cohn Builders Award. And Maureen and I are so thrilled that they're our dear friends on top of that. The Whiting's contributions to our community are nothing short of remarkable. Through their tireless efforts and generous support, they've significantly advanced the missions of several key Tampa institutions, most notably the Center for Catholic and Jewish Studies at St. Leo University and the Academy Prep Center of Tampa. At the Center of Catholic and Jewish Studies, the Whitings provided funding for student scholarships and to enhance the CCJS staff so that it could better serve the center's mission of fostering interfaith understanding and cooperation. Gail and Paul's investment ensures that the center will continue to educate students in the vital skills of interreligious leadership in the future. The Whiting's generosity extends also to the Academy Prep Center of Tampa. The Academy Prep is a unique, rigorous, and highly successful private middle school that provides life-changing, pages don't turn, opportunities for students qualified on a need basis scholarships. Academy Prep's mission is to inspire and empower young people to become future community leaders. The Whiting's involvement has been instrumental in advancing this mission and ensuring that the school will continue to offer its transformative programs in the future. The Whiting's unwavering support and personal involvement not only augments the student's educational experience, but sets a highly visible example of what really community service looks like. Gail and Paul, your passion and persistence as well as your great generosity have enriched our community in countless ways. We thank you so very much, and we're so proud to present you with the Maureen and Douglas Cohn Builders Award. Congratulations.
This evening so successful. They both worked very hard and we're grateful for their efforts. My knowledge of Gail and Paul Whiting is a personal one. I've known them for over 20 years. They are two of the kindest and most generous people I have ever met. Gail got me involved in the Center for Catholic Jewish Studies about that time, and I have shared her love and her interest and her passion for all these years, and I can't thank you enough. Rabbi Joseph Telushkin wrote in the Book of Jewish Values that kindness is the supreme virtue in selecting a spouse or a partner. Gail and Paul chose well. And this year, in October, they will be celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. As a young married couple, like many of us, they started with nothing. Over the years, with hard work and determination, they became very successful, and with success came their passion for giving back. As good Catholics, they feel strongly about doing God's work, and they do it every single day. I hope I've conveyed to you how thoughtful and kind they are, always caring about others, strong in their faith, generous in their hearts, and doing it with humility and grace. Gail and Paul, thank you for letting us honor you with this Builders Award, and we love you very much.
Who's that? Come on.
Wow, are we blessed to have two of the nicest friends introduce us and be our friends. I just love them to death, so thank you for all for being so kind to them and them being so kind to all of you, because they are very special people. I thank them, and I thank Mr. Gould and all the members of the Jewish Community Center and the Jewish Federation. Paul and I are so very honored and grateful to accept this Builders Award. When we heard who had previously received this award, we were sure there was some mistake. First, we're Catholic, not Jewish, and our contribution to the community has been modest compared with the others who have been so honored, and we certainly are not in the same category as Maureen and Doug, who established the award. So we thank you for considering us. Like many of you, we pray that our contributions give glory to the Lord, the giver of all good gifts. For those who do not know us, Paul and I were born in Chicago and met at the freshman mixer at the University of Illinois in Champaign, which I found out Maureen went to as well. We didn't know each other then, but anyway. We married 3 years later and began our lives together. After Paul finished his education, we went back to Chicago for work. Paul's banking and business career took us from Chicago to San Francisco to Toledo and then to Tampa in 1982. We were so grateful to come, at least from Toledo, to a place with endless summer and sunshine and water. But in 1982, Tampa was not the big city we were used to. I think there were only 1 or 2 tall buildings downtown, minimal shopping, and Hyde Park, where we bought a home, was a little risky. Our son, Paul Jr., enrolled as a freshman at Tampa Prep, then housed in a former livestock building on the grounds of the then failing University of Tampa. But we all liked what Tampa Prep stood for and for their leadership. We found that in Tampa, even as a newcomer, if you raised your hand when help was needed, you were in charge. It's really true. You've probably had that experience if you came with it. So Paul was invited to join the Tampa Prep board and became chair, and I became the school's first director of development. Never done that before. And we helped build the first new school. It's now in its 3rd generation. Since then, our grandsons, now our ninth relative, my sister's grandson, attends a much larger and a much more successful Tampa Prep, still near to the now very impressive University of Tampa. In 1982, in Tampa, there was no aquarium, no history center, no children's museum, no hockey team or Strauss Theater, or Jewish Community Center. The Tampa Zoo was a disaster. They told them to close it or spiff it up, and Sally Baldwin came in and helped make that happen. But anyway, the football stadium badly needed to be replaced, and the art museum was insignificant. Many not-for-profits were struggling. By raising our hands, we were able to help, just like many of you. The Community Foundation of Tampa Bay had just been born. We got involved there too. The Community Foundation introduced me to an idea that St. Leo University, Rabbi Jim Rudin, then with the American Jewish Committee, and St. Petersburg Diocesan Bishop, Robert Lynch, had conceived to form a Center for Catholic Studies if they were ever someplace together again. St. Leo University was open to providing the home for what became the CCJS. This idea appealed to me, so I raised my hand to help and have been involved ever since. The CCJS and what it stands for has become a true passion for me, even more so in these terrible, challenging times. When Paul retired as CEO of Spalding and Evenflow Companies in 2003, he was invited to visit a newly formed school in St. Petersburg, the Academy Prep School. Jeff Fortune, a Jew, and Tom Sansone, a Christian, wanted to bring a similar school to Tampa and asked Paul to head up the search committee for land to house the school, to hire a head of school, and form a board. And Paul said yes. Academy Prep Center Tampa is now 21 years old, and it was the result of those conversations. A third school in Lakeland was added 5 years ago. Each place we lived has had unique qualities that defined it, and we learned from each. The big city advantages of Chicago, the diversity and beauty of San Francisco, the warm small-town relationships in Toledo. But Tampa amazed us with the importance its residents place on faith and religious practice, and with the generosity and openness to involve newcomers. In Tampa, members of all faith traditions seem to value their commitments and practice and support their beliefs, but at the same time, they respect and get along and work together with one another for the good of the community. Most churches, synagogues, and even mosques are active. Prayer groups, Bible studies, charitable organizations thrive, and religious holidays are observed. I think this influence leads to the incredible generosity in Tampa, and Paul and I have observed, and which many of you practice. We are so very grateful to be here. So Paul, just kind of follow me here.
So Doug and Maureen, everybody here knows about your generosity, but I would just like to reinforce and say thank you for everything that you've done to help this community grow and to be more successful. A personal observation. Your commitment to each other for faithful years, 60 years of marriage, and your commitment to family speaks volumes about your values. And I respect you especially for those values. Thank you. I was born in World War II in Chicago, as Gail said, to a Catholic family on the west side of Chicago, and went to public grammar school. That's the beginning of the long version. You're not going to get the long version. When I was growing up and learned my Catholic faith, I was a little surprised to learn that Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were all Jewish. I also learned that there's a lot of differences between the Catholic faith and the Jewish faith. But as Rabbi Rudin says, that's not what's important. What's important is sharing what we have in common. And in these days and this secular world, we need to work together and we need to support each other. And I really encourage all of you to do the same thing. And somehow in my heart, I think you're already doing that. So thank you for the honor of this award. And at this point, I'd like to ask Lincoln Tamau and Matthew Tabey to come up and speak a little bit about our respective organizations.
Good evening and greetings to everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Matthew Tabey and I am the director of the Center for Catholic Jewish Studies and an associate professor of theology at St. Leo University. I want to recognize that St. Leo University President Dr. Dedez is here, Edward Dedez. Dr. Dedez, if you'll wave. I joined also tonight here representatives of the Center for Catholic Jewish Studies, the Maureen and Douglas Cohn Visiting Chair in Jewish Thought, Rabbi David Mayan. And also the CCGS Administrator of Programs and Events, Lori Gens. For several months, I've been looking forward to being with you as Gail and Paul Whiting receive the Maureen and Douglas Cohn Building Award in recognition of their leadership, vision, and commitment to strengthening Tampa. The Whitings have strengthened Tampa by building bridges of interreligious understanding, and they have worked to build stronger relations between two groups in particular, Catholics and Jews in the city, as well as all people of goodwill. Some may not realize that there has been a dramatic shift between two ancient traditions that deserves to be highlighted. In 1965, at the Second Vatican Council, the Catholic Church redefined its relationship with Judaism and the Jewish people from a mostly negative relationship characterized by enmity and demonization to a positive relationship characterized by fraternity and profound respect. After the council, the goal for bishops and for many Jewish leaders became building mutual understanding. This positively redefined relationship will turn 60 years old next year. The relationship that was planted was like a small seed put into the ground by brave pioneers who came before us, among them Holocaust survivors. The seed they planted has grown up over the last 60 years and is now like a mature oak tree. The new and positive relationship has grown because people, local people like the Whitings, have watered it. And over the last 25 years, the Whitings and others built the St. Leo Center for Catholic Jewish Studies in the great tree, in the shade of this great tree of Catholic Jewish relations, of this tradition. I'm happy to say that tonight, one of its principal founders, His Excellency Bishop Emeritus Robert Lynch, is here with us. Will you join me in recognizing him? Bishop Lynch and Rabbi Rudin, who was also mentioned, and Arthur Kirk, former president of St. Leo, recognized the need in Florida of a growing population of Jews and Catholics, and so the need for a center made a lot of sense. Today, our mission is the same as it always has been, to build mutual respect and understanding between people from different religious backgrounds, between the Catholic and the Jewish communities, between two of the oldest institutions in the world, synagogue and church, as well as people of goodwill. How does one build understanding between people from different backgrounds? We build understanding across lines of difference by leading public educational programs in churches and synagogues, teaching St. Leo classes, and we also build bridges through research, through academic meetings that take place in locations like Washington, D.C., New York, Germany, Rome, Jerusalem. Today, the center strives to build bridges of understanding amidst societies plagued by suspicion, partisanship, and disinformation. The center remains the only academic center of its kind in the southeastern United States. And as a sign of the increasingly important role of the center in building bridges between different religions, the Holy Father, Pope Francis, recognized the tradition of interreligious relations here in Tampa by bestowing a papal knighthood on our co-founder, Rabbi James Rudin, who now insists that I call him Sir Rabbi Rudin. Obviously, the bridges I've been talking about are not made of steel and concrete. The bridges that the Whitings have helped us try to build, that we need your help to build also, are bridges of understanding. Bridges of understanding are bridges where two people from different backgrounds come together in dialogue and understand the other person better than they did before. The materials needed to build these bridges are more difficult to acquire than concrete and steel. In fact, the materials needed to build bridges of understanding are made of things you can't buy, like humility, fairness, compassion, the ability to listen, and above all, the conviction that the truth exists and that we have an obligation to seek the truth, and that facts matter. These virtues are in short supply. As Martin Luther King Jr. said in his letter from the Birmingham jail, quote, "shallow understanding from people of goodwill," end quote, is an obstacle to justice. Rather, we must rise to what he calls the majestic heights of understanding. We need deep understanding of others, not shallow understanding. Gail and Paul, you help us build these bridges of deep understanding and respect for other traditions and peoples. Thank you for your commitment to building interreligious relations in Tampa and beyond. It is a joy to work with you in this historic endeavor of Catholic-Jewish relations. And thank you for all of your work and energy in transforming the CCJS.
The Builders Award is perfectly named for two beautiful souls like you, Gail, and you, Paul. I would add to builders, lovers of humanity, and especially of God. And your understanding faith in the beauty of each and every individual, each of us, all of us here, everyone that you've touched, the many, many thousands of people that you've touched in your lives, each unique and beautiful creations of God. Paul worked like a mule to get the Academy Prep Center of Tampa opened. He worked like a mule to get the right people together, to leverage, and also Gail to leverage their social influence, political influence, financial influence to support this beautiful endeavor, Academy Prep. Gail, the consummate cheerleader and also builder, getting people together. For example, I'm sure many of you in this room know Sister Annie Doherty. Gail was the one who really introduced Annie to us, and Annie ended up being the director of graduate support and leading lots of kids on to the greatness that they had inside of them. We have a convocation every morning at Academy Prep Center of Tampa. And it's in the auditorium. The entire school gets together. We should get together more often as a society, at least once a day. Families, organizations. We should get together more often as a society, at least once during the day, to talk about where we all need to go in God's glory. We have convocation every morning at Academy Prep Center of Tampa in the auditorium, and in that auditorium is an old painting of Paul's. With that famous green pen. He always likes to write in green. And as we were running convocation this morning, I just looked at that painting, Paul, and I just smiled. And one of the things that I love that you say is that growing our kids at Academy Prep is like growing redwoods. You really have to be patient. And it takes a long time to see the fruits of our labor and, of course, their labor. So we're in that convocation with 155 beautiful black and brown faces, and the adults who are guiding and shepherding them. And I think of the redwoods that are already now starting to blossom. In a place where 100% of our kids qualify for the federal free and reduced meals program, 100% of our kids. But that has nothing to do with their God-given talent and innate ability to strive and to bring onto the world the great talent that God has given them. We have now graduated hundreds and hundreds of kids who have gone on because of the great talent that God gave them and the platform that we were able to provide for them, on to places like Tampa Prep, Berkeley, Jesuit, Academy of the Holy Names, Deerfield Academy, Choate, Phillips Exeter. You can go on and on and on. And now going on to college, University of Tampa, USF, UCF, University of Florida, Florida State, Columbia University, the United States Naval Academy, the United States Air Force Academy, and just on and on and on. And those, they're really not quite redwoods yet. They're still kind of saplings, but they are going to come back, and they're already coming back. We've got teachers, lawyers, gonna have a doctor in about 3 years, engineers, police officers, bankers, and they're going to be like us, sitting at the same tables and seats that we're in, and leading our community in their own right. None of that would have happened without these two. And Academy Prep Tampa, this man right here. So God bless you, Gail. God bless you, Paul, for everything you've done.